On today's show, we are joined by a beautiful and amazing guest, Michelle, who is connecting with us all the way from Mexico. In this episode, we dive into a profound conversation about purpose, how to truly connect with it, the importance of living your purpose, especially as we move into the new earth energy, and the joy that comes when we align our lives with our deepest calling. May you enjoy today's conversation. And if you would really like to help Sacred You out, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, or check us out at www.sacredyou, that's the letter U, .love for more valuable resources. Have a beautiful and wonderful day. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in our beautiful and incredible world. Thank you for joining us today on Shining the Light Conversations. And with me, I have a beautiful guest, Michelle, who's joining us all the way from Mexico, I do believe, to have a wonderful conversation about purpose, to really connect with our purpose and the importance of life's purpose, and in the new earth energy, which is something really close to my heart, because I truly believe that when we live our purpose, life is joyful, especially as we go into the energy of the new world that's slowly coming about. So thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us. Like I said, I am really excited to have you here. And can we just start with a wonderful question, wonderful conversation? But I'd love to know about your journey, Michelle, and how you got to here, to how you got to where you are, and what was a defining moment in your life when you discovered your life's purpose. How did you know?
Oh, you're going right in. Okay. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you for having me. I've been on my spiritual path for over 20 years, but it really accelerated in 2016. I got laid off a couple of times from my corporate job. And then 2016, I was like, yeah, that's done. And then I really felt this call to be of service. And then the next few years, I was desperately seeking what that was. I did so many different things that at the time seemed like failures. But looking back, I can see that they all brought me to exactly where I am now. And I think, too, in 2018, I got sober. And then that was also a defining moment, because we use so many substances in our life to mask these emotions that we have that we're not even aware of. I never knew I was a hypersensitive person and that I had all this stuff going on. I just knew I liked to party. Then when the alcohol went away, which it actually fell away beautifully, because I knew that it was time. And I knew that I wasn't going to be drinking the rest of my life, because it was more than a hobby for me. And so that was a moment. And I think for me in 2019, I started hearing voices, and they started coming. It was very weird. The first one was like, we're watching, we see you, we know what you're doing, or something like that. And I remember thinking, this is so weird. And I grabbed my phone and I spoke it into my phone, because I knew I wouldn't remember it, because it was right early in the morning when I got up. And then the voices just kept coming forward. And then that was 2019. I was really desperate to find my purpose, because I'm a type A person. And when I got laid off and I had all these different jobs or businesses that weren't really happening, I knew that when I found my purpose, that the whole world would open up for me. And so I was desperately seeking purpose. And I went to this workshop. It was a workshop, and there was a woman there from doTERRA essential oils, and she had these things that you hold in your hand, and then from your frequency it tells you what oils that it recommends for you. And one of the oils was Melissa, and she had this book that talked and told about all the different oils. And if I'm not mistaken, because it was a really long time, Melissa is your inner truth. And so I read this page and I was like, oh my God, I have to have this. This is the answer. And it was like $120, $30 for this teeny little bottle. It was so ridiculous. But I was like, I need to have this oil. And I started putting it on my third eye every morning before I meditated. And about 2 months later, I was in yoga in Shavasana, and I heard I was hosting this event for another person, a psychic. She was going to do a group reading for all my girlfriends. And I said, no, I said, come and I'll invite all my friends to do this group reading. They love that stuff. And so I heard she was coming the following week to start hosting these events every month with different people. So, because I was in that coaching community. So to invite those women to lead these events that I would co-create with them and host at my home and market and invite people and get the people there. That was what I would do. And I started doing that, and it worked for about nine months. And then by the end of the year, people stopped coming, and I could tell it was time for me to step forward, that I had to start talking, because I was using all these other people to teach, and it was time for me to share all that I had done. And then that was 2020. So I did a big thing in January of 2020, and then everything just got quiet after that. But 2020, everything really shifted for me. That's when the voices became really loud, and I was channeling like every day. And yeah, it was confusing because I never was psychic or clairaudient or anything before. And all of a sudden I could hear all this stuff. And it doesn't come with a handbook, when you download these gifts. You got to figure it out on your own. So I guess that's my turning point, and that was how I found my purpose. It started then.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much for sharing that. And I hear you about your journey. First of all, I'd just like to honor you for sharing that. I also love doTERRA oils, and I also know about the value, both financially, but also I think internally, emotionally, of Melissa. It's one of the highest frequency oils. It does some incredible things for us. So thank you for sharing that. And your other journey about channeling and things like that. We have a few channelers in Sacred Use, so they have a wonderful journey. But can you tell us, Michelle, especially for people who may not consider themselves psychic, who may not have those experiences of being told what to do, of the guidance of channeling, what role do you feel that spirituality has in finding your purpose? And fulfilling your purpose?
First of all, I believe that even if you're not clairaudient, even if you're not a channel, that you still receive information from the other side. They're always guiding you. That if every person could see the spiritual team that they have that's around them all the time, cheering them on, go, we're so happy for you. This is great. If you could see how much support you had on the other side and feel that energy, you would never feel alone. And you would never feel doubt or disappointment, because you would know that you're guided and protected. And so I really, at this point in my career, I'm really helping people to connect within to whatever, whether you're hearing or you're seeing or you're knowing or you're feeling, we're all receiving that information. Everyone has the capability to do that. And the next thing is if you're listening, because so often you receive information, but it can seem really crazy. Like when I heard, we're watching you, or da-da-da, that was a little creepy. And then when they told me to host people at my house every month, I was like, how's that going to work? Why am I doing that? But I did it, and it turned out beautifully. And I met so many different people and helped so many different people, because through my friends, taught so many different energy tools and so much about your spiritual awakening and growth. So I think it's really an important part of the purpose, and then finding your purpose so that you can live in. Once you get in that flow, once you start listening and acting, see, you ask, you receive, and then you must act. If you don't take the information and do something, then they're going to stop sending you information, or they're going to hit you over the head with a brick. And I've had definitely those too, where I wasn't listening, and I was resistant and rebellious and did my own thing. And I ended up having a stroke. I've had so many health issues because I wasn't listening. So I learned I need to listen. Otherwise, I get hit with something really big. So it's my advice. Even if it's crazy, just do it.
I like that. And yes, be careful of what you get hit over the head with if you're not following your purpose. And just getting into that a little bit, because I do want to go into what your purpose is now. But before we do that, do you feel that everyone just has one predefined purpose, or can that change? Can your purpose actually change over time throughout your life?
I think we continue to evolve. Hopefully, you continue to evolve and grow, and that you are also changing. But I believe that we have gifts and talents and you might be somebody who has a lot of gifts and talents. And I know a lot of creatives like that they have so many gifts and talents that they don't really know what to focus on. But I think that there is a focus. And I think that it doesn't need to be something you build a business around. You could be, in fact, my neighbor, she's in charge of happiness for her company. She told me that. I was like, you are the perfect neighbor. And I'm like, how did you get this job? And she said, you know what? I just always was in a good mood, and I was always cheering people on, and always had a positive attitude. And so they just asked me if I would like to create a happiness department. And I said, yes. And so that's somebody who's found a way to take this innate sense of joy and make money doing it, and also helping so many people, because his whole corporation is her responsibility to keep them happy, and she takes it very seriously.
Oh my, seriously, can you just imagine what the world would be like if everywhere had a happiness department?
I know, right?
Seriously, I'd love to know more about that. And how does one develop a happiness department? How does one get a job in a happiness department? Wonderful. But that's another conversation for you and maybe your neighbor. But what I'd love to know now is more about you and the work that you do with your healing center, the Mariposa House of
Yeah.
Healing. Tell us about that, and how do you help women find their purpose?
It's the Mariposa House of Metamorphosis. And I live in San Cristobal de las Casas, Mexico. And I was guided here and told that I had like an agreement here. And it's an interesting story, but this town has a very high vibration, and it's very much about transformation. So very often people will come here for 3 days and end up staying 3 weeks, or maybe they come for 3 weeks and they're here for 3 months. Or there's a story about some guy that came and stopped to get gas and never left. He's been here like 40 some years. So there's a calling here in this city, and there's the most and it's in the state of Chiapas, and a lot of people don't know, but Mexico is about a third the size of the United States, and it has 32 states. And Chiapas borders on Belize and Guatemala, and it is the poorest state in the union. I guess I don't know if you call it the country. And it has one of the highest populations of indigenous people. And it's a very low cost of living. And there's these incredible healers here. And there's so many sacred rituals that people partake in here. And because it's such a poor place, the cost of living here is very low. And these healers charge very little for their services. And they are real from all over the world. It's a very international city. Unlike many other cities, Mexican cities, where there's large populations of Americans and Canadians and English speakers. In Chiapas, it's a very international community. And English is spoken when you find those people, but those people are from all over the world. So I was, when I got here, doing a lot of healing and going through my own transformation and seeing these healers regularly. And at the end of the year, I had a fall and I fractured my femur, and had to have emergency surgery. And what happened, a lot of people would say, wow, that's a catastrophe, but it turned out to be one of the biggest gifts of my life. And I knew that I was here to build community. And I knew that I was here to build like a spiritual center with classes and workshops and really feature other teachers and spiritual leaders. And so when they don't really speak English in the hospitals or the doctors. A lot of people don't speak any English. So what happened was all these people that I had, healers that I'd been going to and seeing, really rallied around me and supported me and were there to translate for me and rearrange their schedules so they could sit with me at the hospital and rearrange my house while I was in the hospital so that when I came home, I had 24/7 nursing care because I literally had to be in bed for 4 weeks after I had my surgery. And what I realized was I came here to build community, and I already had this community that I didn't even know I had built. And they just rallied around me and supported me. And it was the most incredible thing. Like, I had such a miraculous recovery. I think because the first 2 weeks of my injury, I cried every single day in profound gratitude. And I was aware of all these miracles that were happening around me, just all the things that just showed up to help me and support me. It was so beautiful. And so from there, I found the house that I co-created with God. And this house is really a healing house. And I started hosting events, and I'm bringing together this incredible community of healers and service providers that really are here to conscious people from all around the world that are here to make the world a better place and to use their gifts for that. And so that's how the house really got started. And it's my purpose to curate events, retreats for people so that they can experience this metamorphosis through all these people that are here that can provide body work, that can take them on cultural. There's 4 aspects to the retreats. There's healing. There's nature, because we're surrounded by the cloud forest and multiple ecological reserves that are just breathtaking. There's culture, because we're deep in Mayan country here, and there's just San Cristobal alone is an old colonial city, but we're surrounded by all kinds of Mayan indigenous communities, pyramids, that kind of thing. The energy here is very old and sacred. And also the food, the culinary. So we have chefs that come, and being vegan here is really an easy thing because meat is so expensive that you can get really high quality meat. And what's so great about this place is that most of the food is grown by the indigenous without GMOs, and really this fresh food that we get, very rare. I don't want to say rare, but you can go to the supermarket and get stuff from Chile and France, but most of what you buy is grown right here. It's so fresh and incredible. So the food here is incredible too. So my gift is, as I said, clairaudient. So I meet with the person that wants to come and channel their higher self. And the 3 of us co-create this experience where they can activate the voice within so that they can start to really hear what it is that they're here to do. And I really create a sacred container so that they can trust themselves and share whatever because a lot of people hear stuff, they already know what their purpose is in some way, because what's happened for me is my purpose is everything that happened then when I was on that yoga mat, and I heard to start hosting these events where other people led it. That's what I'm doing now. I'm actually curating events using the gifts of other people. And that's my gift. And I'm also a healer. I do all kinds of energy work and have certifications, but my role is really to help others, to promote others, to use them, and to help people to connect within.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing it. And it's definitely a place that I'd like to visit, everything that you're saying. And like you've said, people come and stay. The energy of it sounds very much like utopia. We're reading in our community in Sacred U, we read the Tao Te Ching. And it starts off a lot about connecting with that energy and living your own utopia wherever you are when you connect with the energy of the world, the energy of the universe, of God, and especially of nature. So thank you so much for sharing that. We will be putting links about your center in the comments very soon. But can I ask you, Michelle, can we go on a little bit, especially with purpose, but the concept of the new earth energy, and how does purpose, what does finding your life purpose or living your life purpose, how does that connect with the new earth energy?
One of the things they're not talking about on the news, I'll tell you that for sure, is the shift in energy on the planet. And all you have to do is follow the Schumann resonance, and you can see that the frequency of Mother Earth has shifted dramatically over the last 10 years. And even more so just over the last probably 5 years, 6 years, and continues to accelerate and speed up. But what that means is that because we live on Mother Earth, she's changing frequency. She's vibrating at a different level. And because we're here and our body is synergistic with the earth, we have to change too. As our body changes frequency, we're actually, you can go into Google and you can Google emotional frequency map, I think it's called. David Hawkins talks about it in Power versus Force, and he has one. And you can see that every emotion has a frequency. And the lowest is, I think, shame. And then the highest is really like peace and love is up there. But the reason I bring that up is because the earth is changing in frequency. So we were living in a lot of fear, a lot of shame, a lot of anger. These are all lower density frequencies that we were living in, and just thinking in stress and anxiety, all those are really low density frequencies. And this was normal. This was the way we were all living. And we were programmed to believe that's the way it was supposed to be. But that's not true. We came here to be happy, to be joyful, we were all given really special, unique gifts. And we came here to live that, to be that person, to use our gifts, to help others, because we really came here to be this united collective community, not this competitive dog eat dog world that we've been programmed to believe is the way that it's supposed to be. As our frequency changes, as we do more and more healing, and we release more and more trauma from our body and more programming, then our frequency goes up. We live in a higher state of consciousness, and this higher state of consciousness wants to be of service, wants to help. And you're seeing that, and you're probably experiencing that because you're feeling this need to be of service, to share your wisdom, to help others. You're feeling this kindness that maybe you didn't have before. You're not comparing yourself to other people as much and feeling the competition. You just you're competing with yourself now instead of others, because we were really taught that everybody was a threat, that we had to put everyone down so that we could look so much better. But the truth is that when our frequency is high, we want everyone to succeed. We want everyone to be joyous. We want everyone to feel as good as we do. And so when you feel good and you're wanting everyone else to feel good, then it's just natural for your purpose to come forward. What do you do that makes people feel good? What do you do that makes you feel good?
Lillian, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Talking about following your purpose, and I'd love to continue talking to you, Michelle, sometime very soon, because I've got so many more questions. For me, I love the whole topic of purpose, living your purpose, and also helping others to find their purpose. But one question that I do have for you is, how would you respond to people, to like critics and stuff like that, that believe that only people who are financially abundant can follow their purpose?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. It's such a good question. And it's actually one of the reasons that it's part of my purpose is to help healers and those with their gifts that are struggling to be more prosperous. Because for some reason, and I'm the same, I'm a salesperson. I've been in sales my whole entire life. But when it came to selling my own things, I'm like, I don't know if people are going to buy this or not. And so we think we downplay our gifts because they come so easy for us. So we think everybody can do that. So why should I charge a premium or even any money for something that I love doing or something that comes so easy? And so they don't make any money because they don't believe in themselves. But you don't need money to make money. Some of the richest people in the world grew up in poverty and also have been bankrupt more times than you can count on your hands and toes. They just believe in themselves and they just keep picking themselves up and moving forward. And that's really what it is. God does not want us to have rich people and poor people. God wants us all to be abundant. And abundant isn't just about money. It's about friendships, relationships, your health. It's just about everything in your life. And once you start having an abundant mindset and leaving, also self-love and worth is so important. I just wrote in a book is coming out this summer, a chapter about self-love and how I felt unworthy my whole life. I really didn't know, and you wouldn't know as a salesperson who with a lot of friends and a very active social life, you wouldn't know how unworthy I felt. But when I had that femur break and all these people started to come to take care of me, it really broke open my heart. And the gratitude that I felt that for all these strangers that were just taking time out of their day to visit me, to support me, some stranger from a foreign country that they barely knew. I'd only lived here like 6 months when it happened. And it really helped me to realize that I'm lovable. I don't have to earn my love. We all think we've been programmed that love is conditional. And so once you really start loving yourself, then you can love others so much easier. And your whole world like opens up to gratitude and abundance and all the things that you didn't know how or didn't think you were worthy of. So I think that it's an inside job, really. Wealth and prosperity is it comes from the inside. It's not who you know, what you know. It is both of those things, but you have to feel worthy to know the right people. You need to know the right people, for sure. And you have to have the right mindset, positive mindset. So important. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
It does, and thank you so very much. And I agree, abundance is definitely an inside job. And for me, it doesn't really matter our level of financial wealth as such, that we all have a purpose on this planet in our life, within the universe, and various different purposes. Like your next door neighbor, her purpose is to bring happiness to people, has the fortune of being paid for it, which is amazing. And for you is to help other people find their purpose and to help people heal. We're all healers within ourselves, and it doesn't take any amount of money to allow those gifts, those innate abilities to shine. All we have to do is connect with them. So thank you for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Michelle, I have so many more questions, but our time is almost up. So one last one is for you. Is there any question that I could have asked you? And how would have you answered?
You asked so many good questions. I don't know. I guess the biggest question is what is my dream for the world? I love that question because I really have a big dream for the world. I believe that we all have a vision inside of us, and that once we all find our purpose, then then people will live in more peace and harmony because people will be so happy and joyful about what they're doing every single day that we can create a world that really everyone. And it will also level the playing field. I think the haves and the have-nots, the way we've been programmed, that's the way the world's supposed to be, is not the way the world's supposed to be, you know? That in Mexico here, these people that have nothing that will do whatever they can to help you. It's amazing to me, this culture They just know that they need to help each other. That's how they were raised. And it's so inbred in their culture. And I think if it could be inbred in all the cultures around the world to help others, and to know that we are all one, you are me and I am you. So when you start to know that, then you really know how important it is to help that other person because you're helping yourself. That's my dream for the world.
And I would be very honored to help you fulfill your dream.
I feel the same way about you.
Very honored. So thank you so much for sharing that. It really has been a joy to connect with you and to chat with you today. And I do hope that you come back for another conversation, because I believe there is so much that we can talk about finding a purpose and living, not just finding it, but living it and staying on that track and experiencing the energy, the vibrancy of when we're in our purpose. So thank you, Michelle. Really, I said it's been an honor. And for everyone who's listening, whether it's live or on the replay, do click on the links that are below, will be below this video, and connect with Michelle, because we all have the purpose within us. We all really do. It's just allowing it to come forth. And I said, I'm honored, or I want to congratulate you, Michelle, for living your purpose.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful to have this time with you.